I want to welcome everyone to the Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting, the July the 23rd meeting. It's kind of a special meeting. Normally we meet on Thursdays, but we're going to meet this evening, and we have another meeting coming up next Thursday at the first, because we kind of spread it around. So welcome everybody here. Commissioner Wathen, would you lead us in a prayer and the pledge?
Dear God, our Father, thank you for all of the blessings that you have given this great community. We ask that you protect our military, our police, and our firemen. Please bless all of our county employees and all their families. Please bless these Boy Scouts that are with us here today. We ask that you intervene to stop the destruction of the families in this country. Do give us the wisdom that we need so that we can help save our families. As always, we ask that you help the members of this court to make good decisions that will be the will of God our Father. We pray this in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And as my scoutmaster used to say, two, right? Once again, I want to welcome everyone to our July 23rd Daviess County Fiscal Court meeting. Before we get started, Jenny, I want to take the opportunity to welcome the Troop 611 from First Presbyterian Church. Flem Gordon is a scoutmaster. Flem. All right, David. Well, Flem, why'd you wear the scout uniform? So we'd think you're younger than you really are? It's going to take more than that. David, would you want to stand and introduce your boys? Or better yet, introduce your leaders and let the boys stand and introduce themselves. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for giving of your time and your talent, and I know it takes some of the treasure out of your pocket when you're a scout leader, because I was in the scouts until I got out of high school. I went all the way through Explorer Scouts, and then I reconstituted PAC 220 over at Our Lady of Lourdes, which mirrored the PAC 220 at Immaculate Church, Troop 15 at Immaculate Church, and Post 315 at Immaculate Church. So, young man, now get back up. Who are you? A little louder. You've got old people up here. Next guy. Miles. Andrew. Brad. Bradley. Okay. Okay. Who? Nolan. Okay. Eli. All right. You know, as I look out here, I know what scouts have to do. They have to earn merit badges, and they earn rank badges. They go from tenderfoot, second class, first class, star, life, eagle. How's that for an old dude's memory? But some of those merit badges are really special. We have a commissioner up here who has earned a merit badge, and I want to see if any of you folks have earned the same one, or are you working on it? Commissioner Castlin got his clogging merit badge. Any of you guys working on your clogging merit badge? Okay. Would you care to have an expert give you a demonstration?
Well, wait a minute. Y'all really are working on clogging?
No.
You set them up, didn't you?
Hey, young fellas, tell them who told you to say all that.
I knew he
Uncle
said
Al? Did I say tell him Uncle Al said it? Well, it really is neat to have you guys here. I want to tell you, in this day and age, scouting is one of those things that I continue to believe it builds character. It teaches guys to be self-reliant, and it teaches you to be trustworthy. It teaches you to to be friendly and courteous and kind and obedient and all those Scout laws. And if I'd thought about it, I'd had one of you come. Flim, why don't you go up there and repeat the Scout laws for us? I mean, you're an attorney. Did you have to, did you, don't do it, don't do it. We don't have time. But I really am, Commissioner, I wish I thought about we could have one of those fellas lead us in the pledge.
Yeah, that would
I
be
wish I had thought about it. So we just enjoy you being here. I assume that you're working on your government merit badge? Citizenship. Okay. Citizenship. Okay. Well, you've come to the right place to see government at its best. You could have gone to the city, but this is a lot better. Jenny, are you ready?
I think. Item 1.
Are you sure?
No. Item 1, consideration for presentation, A, Daviess County Gun Club.
All right, Commissioners, I think you're all aware that the last few years, well, I've got a little story to tell you, but the fellow that was running the gun club has been, his lease has expired. He has been asked to vacate the premises. The gun club wasn't open this year at all. When Ross and I went up there and Mark went up there, the door had been kicked into the building. The grounds were in terrible shape, and there was a lot of trash. Just a little history for you young scouts. In the mid-1960s, a fellow by the name of Jim Murray started a one-machine trap club out on the old Mount Zion School Road. If you go past Windy Hollow Lake, you'll see a bunch of stripper pits on both sides of that road. You go on to the first road going to the right. Now there's a house there, but he actually had a trap there. In 1969, the Daviess County Gun Club was formed and the land purchased by Dr. Baker and Roy Rutledge. Clubhouse was built, trap and skeet fields were installed, and a pistol and rifle range was there. I don't know, none of you guys are old enough. Flim, you may have remembered some of those names that I just spoke about. You probably had been up there before. The club hired Jim Murray. He closed down his one trap range, and the club hired Jim Murray to come in and run it. The state purchased the gun club from Dr. Baker and Roy in 1972, and it continued as a gun club run by Jim Murray until the state ceased operations in 1989, at which time the state used it as a demonstration area for wildlife-friendly plantings. Deer, by then we got deer back in Daviess County. They were trying to stock turkeys. There's rabbits, squirrels, quail, everything out there. So they would plant natural food plots, kind of taking care of the environment like scouts do. A little after that, the state just stopped doing that because there wasn't a lot of interest, local interest in that type of thing. I don't know why they wouldn't be interested in the environment. But anyway, they continued to cut it and maintain it for trails and things like that. 2002, Reed Harris Fiscal Court was approached about helping develop or redevelop that property into a gun club. Fiscal Court acquired the property from the state. The state gave the property to Fiscal Court with a provision that it must always from that day forward be used for shotgun sporting events, shotgun sports. If it ceased to be used that way, then the property would revert to the state, and the court would be responsible for the environmental cleanup. Now think about what, at that time, think about what 40 years of lead shot over a 70-acre field, how much it would cost to clean that up. You, in effect, would have to strip mine, surface mine 70 acres, taking the topsoil off, straining the lead out, and remediating whatever was left. And to do that, you would have to completely denude all the vegetation. I don't know what that would cost. I suspect it would be 7 figures. I hope this court will never make a decision like that. As a matter of fact, if you recall, when we tried to acquire a little hurricane boat ramp from the federal government, they were willing to give it to us, but it was with stipulations And we said, nope, how much do you want for it, for us to buy it outright so we can do what we want with it? And we did. Are you just stretching back there, or did you have a question? Oh, okay, just wondered. The state conveyed the property, valued the property at $232,000 for use as a shotgun facility. The property was leased for a nominal fee to Joe Kennedy, who happens to be a retired fire chief from Daviess County Fiscal Court, and Steve Scott to operate as a trap, skeet, and sporting clays facility. The Fiscal Court granted them $100,000 cash to go toward purchasing traps, to fixing the clubhouse up, and doing all the things necessary to restore it as a gun club. Around 2013, that group retired. They got old. Slim, you know how that is. They got old and retired, and it was taken over by Jesse Pollock. We did a request for proposal. Jesse Pollock came in, took it over, ran it for about 4 years. He retired, and a young fella by the name of Matt Snyder responded to a request for proposal after it had sat empty for about 6 months through the summer months, and he came in to run it. He ran it the rest of 17. He ran it through 18. This year, if you recall, we had a lot of rain, a lot of flooding, and it did not get open at all. When we found that it was in disrepair, I instructed Parks and the Road Department to secure the building, to clean up the grounds and mow it and turn the facility back into at least where it looked halfway decent. The question we have here today is, where do we go? What do we do? So after consulting with Ross and the Parks Department, and I've had conversations with you guys, my recommendation is that Daviess County take over the gun club, put it in its operation under the purview of the Parks Department, and allow them to run it. The former operator, Joe Kennedy, has agreed to help us get things off the ground again. He has agreed to help train the folks that we would hire to run the gun club or to be there so that they can do minor repairs. As you know, Carl is leaving the Parks Department and to become a road supervisor. Mark can't wait to get him over there, can you? Have you got him already? Got him already. Ross, in turn, has revamped his supervisory personnel, and because of that, we think we're probably going to save $90,000 in salaries and benefits. That was budgeted for his position. We can hire a couple part-time people, 1,200 hours a year. That's what it takes to stay away from having to pay, put them into the retirement system and to pay benefits. We could hire those folks, 2 of them, 1,200 hours apiece. The one would be full-time out at the gun club, working the 1,200 hours. The second, and both of them would be employees of the Parks Department. The second would be at the Parks Department, but available to fill in if this fella got sick, if you wanted to take vacation, if things got busy, he'd be available for Ross to send out and mow the facilities once a month. I don't think it would take any more than once a month because for the most part, these clay targets we shoot go through the air and not through the weeds. Although we do throw rabbits, you couldn't hit one, could you, Charlie?
I missed a number of items.
You ought to see him. He would shoot at those targets and then clog around the station. And so, you know, that's $48,000, about half the cost of what we were paying Carl, and we're going to save some money on top of that. The equipment, which will come up later in the program, I went ahead and in order to know what the cost would be, I went ahead and asked Jordan to get formal quotes, formal bids on the equipment so that we would know what we were going to have to do. The equipment, the new equipment that we would have to buy, plus 2 used skeet machines that we have found. And by the way, we're purchasing those would purchase them at $1,300 a piece. their cost new is about $8,000 a piece. So we were fortunate in finding two that were in decent shape. Joe Kennedy and I went and looked at those together. That equipment plus the batteries would run roughly $63,000. I'm gonna round everything up. I figure at best, my figures only, some of the other folks up here have got different figures, but I think we need to kind of look at apples for apples. But at best, we could clear about $15,000 a year, and on the low end, $7,000 a year, meaning that we would pay all the expenses for operating the gun club, plus we would have some money left over to cover the cost of the capital. We could either pay for the capital in 9 years, or we pay for it in roughly 4 years. If we so choose, after we have it up and running, we can offer it to someone to come in and run it again, do a request for proposal. I think it gives our Parks Department an opportunity to shine. I think it stabilizes this gun club for the first time in a lot of years. The property is a couple things. The property is large enough for us to establish an outdoor 3D archery range. And I don't know how many of the Boy Scouts shoot a bow, but when I was growing up, I walked around with a bow all the time. 3D is outdoor. It also is large enough, if we so chose, we could invest in a post-frame building and develop that building for indoor archery in the bad months of the year. We already have a clubhouse building there. The unfortunate thing is they built it in the wrong place, and occasionally it floods. That's why it's got a big concrete wall around it built by the road department many years ago. The property adjacent to it may come up for sale. We could look at that, perhaps buying that property. It happens to be out of the floodplain. So you possibly could take the old clubhouse, turn it into an archery range, staging area, and build a new clubhouse up where it doesn't flood. The bottom line is we either run it as a shotgun sporting venue or we turn it back over to the state with an expensive cleanup. Talking to Ross, he was able to find, there are grants out there, 50-50 grants where you can pay for capital equipment. In my figures, I only figured 30 rounds of sporting clays a week. I did not figure the number of skeet rounds that people would shoot. I didn't figure the number of trap rounds that people would shoot. I didn't figure in the sale of ammunition. I didn't figure in the sale of food, any of those kinds of things. I wanted to be on the low end. I wanted to figure the worst and hope for the best. So I open this up for your discussion and your thoughts. In effect, we don't really need to bid, or we don't need to vote on whether we do this or not. That was a decision that I made, an executive decision to move in that direction. The vote will come later on in the program under bid number 28-2019, new skeet shooting trap set for Parks and Recreation. If you so choose to spend the money and buy them, then we will move forward. If you don't agree with my analysis, then we will contact the state and see where they want us to go in returning the property. So with that, I'm going to open up for discussion by the commissioners.
Al,
Yes.
Judge, the only thing I would say is that, you know, to me, this is really, it points, we really have two choices: turn it over to the state or to do our best to run this in a quasi-profitable, or as you and I have talked before, our parks don't make money. You know, we just opened a new spray park. You know, that's certainly not a profitable thing, but it's something we do for the community, for the benefit of our citizens, and that's what this would be. You know, those who enjoy this activity, and certainly in the short term, I support your recommendation in going the direction that you've just laid out. because we certainly don't know what the cost of the cleanup would be, but I agree with you. I think it'd be a quite sizable number.
It'd be 7 figures at least.
Right. And so when you look at where you cut your losses, or where you know, this to me is the right direction to head towards.
Well, I think, you know, and again, not to belabor the fact that the potential is there for archery, and I think Ross will tell you how big that is, and I know Jenny and her youngins have been champions in shooting at archery. It's a huge and growing sport. But I forgot one thing. As I look out into this audience, this is where you take young guys and teach them gun safety, personal responsibility. And I think we can create a partnership under our Parks Department who is interested in young people. Not to say that Joe and Steve weren't, or not to say that Jesse Pollock wouldn't, or Brad wasn't, but you can partner with NRA, you can partner with the Conservation District, you can do a lot of those partnerships where they will come in and they will provide. I'd like to see us once a month open it up to the public to come out and learn something about gun safety. Perhaps it would help reduce some of the violence that goes on in our community. You know, you take a shotgun and shoot it at a watermelon and then show the results of that to some young fella and say that's what your head would look like. It makes an impression. So thank you for those comments. Commissioners?
I'd like to make a comment. I agree with Charlie. And the other thing is, it's like a golf course. You really don't make any money on a golf course, but people want to go there and they want to play golf. And if this went to the state, it'd be growed up, gone, and probably never be reopened. And I know way back when I got back now the Army in '72 probably, I was out there doing familiarization of firing different weapons through the Army Reserve. So I feel like that I just don't want to see it taken away from the people who enjoy, that would want to go out and shoot skeet or familiarization. And the other thing is for Ross willing to take it over. And if it becomes a burden or too much for him, then I think we need to relook at it. Yep. You know, we don't want to, I mean, Ross does a great job with our Parks Department, and he's gung-ho wanting to do that. So I just don't think we need to take it away from the people that we represent in Daviess County.
Commissioner, you were there in '72. Yeah, inside in the bathroom, there's an engraving that says Kilroy was here. That must have been you.
That was my first sergeant, I think.
Okay. Commissioner?
When I first heard this, I was not for it. And then I did a little research and thinking it through. I think my biggest concern, and I did an analysis, we do have different numbers, but they're not far enough apart.
They're not. They're not.
I mean, it's just anything we do is speculation, but they're not far enough apart to make a difference.
Right.
I mean, it's really small compared to the budget. I put together a list of concerns I had, and I sent them to everybody, and it's not because I don't want to operate it. I just don't want to go in without answering some of those questions.
And I think your concerns are legitimate and good questions. And I'm sorry I didn't get back to you because I was busy, but I've got some of those answers for you.
But I think it's imperative that if we do this and we put it underneath the Park Department, that we give them the leeway and the ability to run it the way they see fit and the way they find to be the best way to run it.
I agree. I agree totally.
Let them have the reins, so to speak, so that if it's successful, we can blame the Parks Department.
Yeah. And if it's
not successful, we can blame no, I'm just kidding. Yeah. But I think for it to be successful, and if we put it under the Parks Department, they have to have full reign. Right. They get to do what they feel like is the best way to operate, and I think it's really important that we do that. Without that, it won't work. And I have a lot of confidence in Ross and the Parks Department. So,
And I agree, and a lot of the questions you had really are operational questions that the Parks Department will develop their own set of guidelines as to how to handle the money, how to schedule, and.
Most of the majority of those questions, when I asked Ross, he had an answer.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
most of them, he's got a plan for, so. I'm not opposed to it. You never did ask me if I
What?
was opposed or not.
Didn't think I needed to.
Well, anyway, I'm okay with it.
Good. Any questions or comments? Any of you young guys have any comments out here? Huh? Do any of you guys hunt? Do any of you fish? Okay. I used to hunt for my supper because my mom would throw it out when I come in late. All right. Any other comment? Ross, do you want to comment? Okay. Good. Next item, Jenny.
2, consideration for approval, A, minutes of the July 11th, 2019 court meeting.
Motion approved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Commissioners, you've all had a copy of the minutes in your possession for some time. Any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
B, all claims for all departments.
Move to approve.
Second.
Commissioners, again, you've all had a copy of the bills due and payable by Daviess County Fiscal Court in your possession for some time. Any questions of the treasurer? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. For your guys' benefit, there are lots of things that the court has to approve in public. There are a lot of things that we can do through by making executive decisions. The judge part doesn't mean anything. I can't put you in jail. But because of the executive part, I can do worse. I can raise your taxes. So I am the one that executes the orders and the budget that the 3 commissioners and the judge put in place. We vote on that budget. The budget is created when our department heads, along with their liaison, as an example, Commissioner Wathen is liaison to Parks, Commissioner Castlin liaison to Roads, Commissioner Koger, and it seems like myself, are liaison to Animal Control. They work with those department heads to figure out what they're going to need to spend in the coming year to provide good roads, to provide parks and recreation, to take care of the landfill. So those kinds of things, what we're doing down through here, we're approving, just what we said, we approved the minutes of our last meeting. We approved paying the bills that we've gotten for the last 2 weeks. We're about to, well, maybe we will approve the treasurer's report and settlement for last year. We'll see about that. So, Jenny, go ahead. You don't want to go?
No.
All right, go.
Are we ready for the next?
Yes, next one.
C, treasurer's report and settlement for fiscal year 2019.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion, second, Mr. Hendricks.
Cash balance at June 30th is $31,991,437. General fund was $12,723,303. Normally, you just get this report each month and it's for presentation. Since this is the end of the fiscal year, it's on the approval agenda, and accompanying it is the document entitled the Treasurer's Settlement, to which in there I attest that the fact that I've prepared the accompanying statements of assets, liabilities, and fund balances, all related to cash receipts, cash disbursements, changes in cash balances for the year, and compiled supplementary schedules reflecting actual revenues and expenditures. I can report that all cash has been reconciled in every fund and every account. All cash has been accounted for. All the fund balances, all of the report balances that are included are accurate and true and correct to the best of my knowledge. Upon approval of these documents and the accompanying worksheets, work papers, and other analysis will be forwarded to our auditors and to the DLG in compliance with the rules that we follow. So the books are in order. We are in compliance with the state of Kentucky's rules and our own rules. I submit the report for your approval.
Commissioners, any question or comment? Question or comment by the public? Mr. Treasurer, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask this. In case that other commissioner is watching this on TV, you said we had $31 million in cash. Does that mean we have $31 million in cash that we can write checks on and spend at our will?
No, it's not free cash reserve. As you're aware, the $31 million includes items that we must hold and trust. For instance, the closure and post-closure accounts, which is worth over $7 million. Those are for specific purposes and can be only used for specific purposes. We also hold various other monies in which we can only spend for if it's federal grant money, it can only spend for the purpose that it was given to us.
Looks like probably 40% of that cash that you're reporting is actually in the operational landfill.
Yes.
Closure, post-closure, and operating fund. Those guys are about to buy some really big boy toys that cost a lot of money.
Correct.
And as this commission decided back 8 years ago, we didn't want to borrow money, we didn't want to bond money, we wanted to pay cash, and we have stayed true to that decision. So, any other question or comment? There be none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, Jenny.
D, fund transfers.
Motion approved.
Did I have a second?
Second.
Oh, okay. I have a motion and a second. Mr. Hendricks.
The following fund transfers are budgeted. They are normal transfers. I'm requesting authority to make the following. Transfer $606,000 from the general fund to the bond fund for the WKU building. Transfer $800,000 from the general fund to the road fund. $500,000 from the general fund to the jail fund. $117,000 from the general fund to the bond fund for the operations center debt. $370,000 from the jail fund to the bond fund for the detention center, and $700,000 from the general fund to the bond fund for the convention center. These funds are in order. I request your approval.
Question or comment? Question or comment by the public? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
E, administrative code amendments.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second. Mark, do you want to explain this? Does Jim want to explain this? I mean, do you want me to explain it?
I can.
Okay.
This change in, or amendment in administrative code addresses the, let me see how it's put exactly.
There you go.
Fleet maintenance educational incentive policy. This, in short, allows us to incentivize our fleet maintenance personnel to do training on their own time. And in regards to that, we would increase their pay. This allows us to have a more educated fleet maintenance mechanic force, which in the end we believe will save us money. So, for instance, we would train in diagnostics, hydraulics, each particular type of equipment, multiple areas of that equipment. So instead of having to send that equipment out to a shop and pay that shop to do the work, we can do that in-house.
The more complicated EPA rules and regulations regarding emissions from diesel and gas burning equipment, it becomes more and more complicated. You really have to be up on the latest training.
As we all know, it's no longer just putting gas in the vehicle and changing the oil.
Right.
They are highly sophisticated pieces of machinery. Your personal vehicles are, so are our equipment. So we are trying to incentivize our mechanics to get that training in-house, keep it in-house so we can better provide service for the citizens of Daviess County.
Who has final approval on whether they get that training incentive or whether the courses they take count?
I believe the way it's written, the fleet maintenance supervisor and the judge executive pre-approve that training. Go ahead and give it educational hour values.
No different than our educational reimbursement
Correct.
that we do on a regular basis.
Correct.
Except most of the time that's for college credit and courses, but these are for actually technical courses.
Correct.
Is there a maximum number of these courses they can take?
There is a maximum amount of what we will raise their pay by.
Okay, so education increase is $2.50 per hour. That's the maximum.
That's
So
the
at
maximum.
50
They can take
cents,
as many courses as
Yeah.
they would like, but we would.
but they can enhance their pay by $2.50 an hour.
That's correct. That's
Yeah.
correct.
Okay. Yes, sir.
How many of the employees qualify for this?
I believe we have 7 mechanics.
Let me, what if for example, if they take a class online and there's a fee, do we pay that fee for the class also?
I believe we do. Yes.
That's, I think we should. I think this is a good program. This should, I'd like to see us, when you start getting people at the maximum, talk about whether we should go further or see how it goes.
Commissioner, I think the other problem, and you're aware of it, as Mark and everybody else, is trying to find mechanics is tough. And trying to compensate them, trying to compete with everybody else who are trying to find mechanics, it's tough. And this just gives us another tool in the toolbox, so.
So
Any other-
they have to do it on their own time, though?
Yep.
Yes. For the most part. Now, of course, obviously, we have vendors that do give class during the workday.
Yeah.
And of course, we get that pre-approved before we send multiple
Right.
mechanics out of the workday.
Any other question or comment? Question or comment by the public? I'm not just doing that to exercise my lips, boys. You can get up there and ask questions if you want. They want to know when the meeting's going to be over, Jenny. There being no other questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
F, resolution number 23, 2019, an agreement with KYTC regarding flex funds.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and second. I guess it's you, Mark?
It is.
Okay.
We go through this process every year. This is our, it looks like a revamped agreement, but I think the meat of it is the same. This is for that rural secondary flex funds that we have the option to keep or give back
We
to
get
the highway department.
15% or 20%? I can't remember.
I think this year we're at 20%.
20% is what I
believe.
remember.
I think they
yeah.
were a B, which gives us more
Yeah.
money.
We never given it back to them yet, have we?
We have not. This agreement is for $299,232. Would you like me to read the 4 roads that we would be using this money on?
Yes, please.
We intend to spend this money on resurfacing of Hayden Lane from Mulligan Road, extending east to Hobbs Road, Lane Road from Kentucky 142, extending west to Reed Road, Morgantown Road from Kentucky 764, extending east to the Ohio County line, Wayne Bridge Road from Kentucky 81, extending west to Terry Road. I would recommend approval.
Almost 6 miles that the state is paying for. That's 1.8, 1.9, 2.9, 3.3, 5.2.
Oh, it's, yeah, it's.
Yeah. What?
3,
When you
4.
scouts say something? Oh, I'm gonna get them to talk. Any question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
G, AmeriCorps host agency agreement benefiting the homeless council of the Ohio Valley.
Motion approved.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Jenny, you want to talk about this?
Sure. This is an annual AmeriCorps host agency agreement. The court provides the homeless council of the Ohio Valley, and this individual who gets the position will directly assist the homeless in obtaining homes.
And we are putting up $5,250.
Yes.
That's our portion. We do this on a yearly basis, pretty much, working with AmeriCorps. Any question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Jenny, before the next item, it involves Commissioner Colger. Commissioner Colger, would you, you're going to recuse yourself, so if you wouldn't mind. and let the minutes reflect that Mike recused himself and left the room. All right, go ahead.
H, amended MOA with Hollison.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion, second. David, you want to handle this?
Yes, sir. We had signed an agreement with Hollison, which is a small business, an entrepreneurial company that had just started, I guess it was about 4 years ago. Their term of the contract, original contract, was to expire in September of next year. Like a lot of first stage companies, they had a project that did not perform as expected. They have refocused their energies, and they have a contract that will start next October, which is just after this agreement was to expire. So they requested that we extend the agreement for 1 year. They have already met most of the goal, but they would not reach the full goal of jobs created. So I think we are requesting the court to amend that to give them 1 more year.
Their largest customer, they lost their largest customer.
Correct, for the one project they were working on.
And to do that really throws a monkey wrench into your operations. I would see no benefit gained by not allowing the extension for a year. I mean, and they, believe it or not, they were into food safety. They actually had a mechanism or a product that would detect bacteria,
Pathogens.
those pathogens in food products.
And they're still doing that.
They're
It's
still
just
doing that,
their
but now
largest
they're
customer
into
is,
probiotics.
now they're doing probiotics into animal feed.
Yeah, so it's, hey, you roll with the punches. I admire somebody that does that. Any question or comment?
Their new contract you made reference to, are they confident that will give
Yes, I
them-
believe it was signed.
Yes.
But they're confident that will generate the
Yes.
numbers?
Yes. They actually, let me think, yeah, Hollison is trying to raise more capital because they need more equipment, more personnel, and those kinds of things. So they're in the process of trying to raise some additional capital. Claude, you reviewed the contract, everything's in?
Yes,
Okay.
Judge, the only thing I might mention is that we're going to do it amended, to say amended, and then change the date to September of this year. But we had that before. I think we could make that work here.
Okay, okay, with those provisions. Any other question or comment? Question or comment by the other attorney out in the audience? I don't, Flem, I don't want you doing anything, you'll send us a bill for $250. There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
I declare surplus inventory and include scheduled items in the 2019
Should I go get?
fall.
Yes,
auction
I'm sorry.
listing.
Let me get Mike back. Okay,
Excuse me, Jeannie, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
let's do it again. Wait till Mike gets back and then we'll do it again. I forgot all about him. It's so nice having him gone. Mike, we missed you.
Thank you.
All right, Jenny, let's do it again.
I declare surplus inventory and include scheduled items in the 2019 fall auction listing.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Jordan, I guess you're going to do this. Before you do it, it's my understanding that Commissioner Wathen might have an interest in those Dodge Chargers.
Absolutely.
The 2012 that's got a gazillion miles on them, so go ahead.
Yes, Judge. On August 23rd of this year at 10 a.m., we plan to conduct a county surplus auction. In order to do so, we must formally declare all items of significant value surplus. You have in front of you a list of items presented by each department as surplus inventory. This list includes vehicles, a backhoe, dump trucks, snowplow equipment, confiscated items, etc. Additionally, on the following page, I have included a list of small miscellaneous items that will likely be sold as well. This includes small equipment, power tools, appliances, etc. We plan to conduct this auction in-house with staff. This has saved us a considerable sum in the past and has proved successful. We recommend declaring all stated items as surplus inventory and to dispose of them by method of surplus auction or sale for scrap. I recommend approval.
Jordan, I noticed under parks, they've got a backhoe, and the only backhoe I knew that they had was a mule, a plow, a scraper, and a hare. Are you gonna get much, and not the rabbit kind of hare either? George's sitting over there waiting for you to reply, Ross. There is no reply. Commissioners, any question or comment? Where did most of this stuff come from? Sheriff's Department, all over fiscal court?
Yes, they
Do
are.
we have
most-
any other people that are going to participate with us outside of fiscal court? In the past, we've had some others join in.
Yes, sir. The Extension Office and county volunteer fire stations have historically participated. I have not heard back from either.
Okay. Any other question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Now, before you go, Jenny, what I want to do, because bid 28-2019 and RFQ 05-2019 were added pretty late, I want to go ahead and look at all of them down to bid 28-2019. I'll take a motion and a second, and then I'll have Jordan read them, and we'll take individual motions and seconds on the other two. Okay.
J, bid number 2019, 2 new tandem dump trucks. 2119, 1 new mechanical front-wheel drive backhoe loader. 2219, 1 new excavator. 2319, a new tandem roller and trailer. 2419, a new 4-wheel drive half-ton pickup truck. 2519, municipal snow plow equipment. And 2619, concrete crushing services.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Jordan, what I'd like you to do is what we normally do. If you would read each of the bids, and then we will pause. I'll ask the commissioners if they have any questions, and if not, we'll go on to the next one, and then we will approve them all in one vote. So go ahead.
Certainly. Starting with bid 20-2019, the fiscal court's list of bids for 2 new tandem dump trucks for the Daviess County Road Department. We received 10 bids ranging from $121,530 per truck to $209,170.34 per truck, and recommend award to the lowest and best evaluated bid of Sternberg International for $121,530 per truck for a total of $243,060. Each unit is a 2020 HV 507 6x4. I recommend approval.
Any exceptions to the bid?
None.
None. Okay. Commissioners, any question or comment? Next item.
Bid number 21-2019, the fiscal court's list of bids for 1 new mechanical front-wheel drive backhoe loader for the Daviess County Road Department. We received 5 bids ranging from $78,500 to $104,000 even. Herb Equipment is the lowest bid without exceptions. We recommend award to the best evaluated bid of Herb Equipment for the 2019 John Deere 310 SL in the amount of $92,891.78. You will note that there are 2 bids lower. The low bid had exceptions that we deemed unacceptable. It's an older unit. It is a smaller unit with a smaller engine than specified. The next lowest bid had minor exceptions. However, they are located in Evansville, Indiana. They are only $276 lower than the next highest bid, who has a parts supply store within close proximity of the operations center. I recommend approval.
Commissioners, any question or comment? Next item, Jordan.
Bid 22-2019, the fiscal court's listed bids for 1 new excavator for the Daviess County Road Department. We received 6 bids ranging from $189,850 to $232,844, and recommend award to the lowest and best evaluated bid of Rudd Equipment for the 2019 Volvo EC250EL in the amount of $189,850. They have no exceptions. I recommend approval.
Commissioners, question, comment? Next item.
23-2019, the fiscal court solicited bids for 1 tandem roller and trailer for the Daviess County Road Department. We received 5 bids ranging from a total of $30,615 to $45,683, and recommend award to the lowest and best evaluated bid of Wayne Supply in the amount of $30,615. The tandem roller is a 2019 CAT CB 1.7, and the trailer is a 2019 B&B VT 81. There were no exceptions, and I recommend approval.
Commissioners, question or comment?
Wait a minute.
Yes, sir.
It
Go
said-
ahead.
You said 30,615?
Yes, sir. That would be the roller plus the custom trailer, both supplied by
combined.
Wayne.
Okay.
Yep. No other questions? Next item.
Bid 24, 2019, the fiscal court's list of bids for one new four-wheel drive, half-ton, full-size pickup truck for the Daviess County Road Department. We received two bids ranging from $27,773 to $29,832, and recommend award to the lowest and best evaluated bid of Pogue Chevrolet for the 2020 Silverado 1500 in the amount of $27,773. It should be noted that Pogue's exception is that they did not include a bed topper requested in the specifications. This has been ruled minor, as the fiscal court can obtain a topper for roughly $1,300, which in addition to their bid price still places them lower than the other bidder and the state bid price as well. I recommend approval.
Any question or comment? Jordan, on the state bid list, didn't you say that they are rather high this
Yes,
year?
they're running high for all types of vehicles.
Right, okay. And who is their preferred, who is that, their,
Tim Short Chevrolet and GMC.
okay. Okay, next item.
Bid 25, 2019, the fiscal court's list of bids for municipal snowplow equipment for the Daviess County Road Department. This equipment included two 10x42 municipal snowplows, two snowplow tilting hitches, and two 14-foot V-box sand and salt spreaders. We received two bids ranging from $47,560.18 to $51,930, and recommend award to the lowest and best evaluated bid of IMCO in the amount of $47,560.18. This equipment is 2019 year buyer's model, has no exceptions, and I recommend approval.
Question or comment? Mark, I suspect if your guys would quit hitting mailboxes with those things, we wouldn't have to be replacing them.
That is correct.
Okay, next item.
Bid 26, 2019, the fiscal court's list of bids for concrete crushing services for the Grimes Avenue Transfer Station. We received two bids ranging from $3.75 per ton to $7.501 per ton, and recommend award to the lowest and best evaluated bid of complete demolition services in the amount of $3.75 per ton. We typically process roughly 2,000 tons of material per year, so our projected total is less than $10,000. I recommend approval.
Commissioners, question or comment? Yes, sir.
Question. I noticed some of these items are also on our surplus. Are they coming in pretty quick? Is that, like,
Oh.
there's two tandem dump trucks. and
Yes,
then
sir.
There's two tandem.
Those
dump
are the
trucks.
units that are going to be replaced by these bids.
Okay.
Quick.
I
His
think what-
question was, are they gonna
Delivery.
be delivered pretty
Yeah.
quickly?
One was wrecked, so it's non-usable anyway, I
Okay.
believe. And the other one, we have a spare to compensate for that.
Okay, but
So we have
again-
enough to fill our fleet.
Again, Jordan, what's the estimated delivery time? on those
Estimated delivery
tandem-
date will be
tandem dump?
within 8 months, but with dump trucks, we roll two spares a
Okay.
year in advance.
So it will not interfere with your operation?
That is correct.
Okay, it's a good catch, I didn't even see that.
Well, I just was wondering, I mean, it's,
My question is, has Complete Demolition Service, have we dealt with them before?
No, the solid waste department contacted their references. They're out of Louisville, Kentucky. Glowing reviews.
Good references?
Mm-hmm.
Do they get to keep the crushed concrete, or do we get that for use in road bed? Or, as I think I've had my engineer tell me, it's not worth using anywhere because it's typically got reinforcing rebar and all that other stuff in it?
That is correct. We keep it. It has.
What do we do with it, Mark? Do we use it out the landfill?
I believe the
maybe?
landfill uses
Yeah.
that.
They probably.
It's a decent fill material, just you don't want
Right.
to use it for a road bed.
Okay. No other question or comment? Next item.
That is all.
That
I
was
have.
it. Commissioners, any questions or items before we bid on the bids 2019 through 2019? Any questions from the public? Boy Scouts, you understood everything. Who's got their diesel mechanic merit badge? If you take some courses, I get you extra $2.50 on your pay. Hearing no other comment, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item.
Award bid number 28, 2019, new skeet shooting trap set.
move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Commissioners, you will see that we received 2 bids, one from High Brass Outfitters, one from Hal Shooting. I had Joe Kennedy contact the Hal Shooting. I wasn't familiar with them. They're out of Alabama. The mech equipment, he says, is pretty much the same as the equipment that was bid by High Brass Outfitters. I know High Brass Outfitters. I don't know the Hal Shooting. But in the past, we've always looked, if there is no differential between the 2 bids, we've taken the lowest bid. Everything is the same. I would like to give it to High Brass, but I can't bring myself to make that recommendation to you because we can save $2,889. Any question or comment?
Judge, what's the lead time, or Jordan, what's the lead time on that? Because we're talking about taking this over.
1st of August.
1st of August?
1st of August.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah. The minute we tell him to go with it, issue a PO, he will bring the equipment.
Of course, you know you can buy a handheld
Commissioner, I was waiting.
for
I was waiting.
$15.95.
I was waiting for when you were gonna ask me that. Any other real legitimate questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item.
RFQ 005, 2019, wood grinding services.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Jordan.
Yes, Judge. The Fiscal Court requested quotes for wood grinding services at the West Daviess County landfill. We received 2 responsive quotes out of 3 contacted vendors, ranging from $13.90 per ton to $14 per ton. We recommend pursuing the lowest quote submitted by PGC Mulch, LLC, in the amount of $13.90 per ton. It should be noted PGC Mulch holds our wood grinding services contract for the transfer station, and the department reports a good working relationship. We typically process roughly 700 tons of material per year, so we anticipate this to be less than $10,000. I recommend approval.
Commissioners, question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item.
K, reject bid number 27, 2019, Judicial Center window sill replacement.
Move to, what we should say here.
Move to approve.
Move to approve.
Yeah.
Second.
I have a motion second. Jordan, tell us why we're doing this.
Yes, sir. The Fiscal Court solicited bids to replace caulking and exterior vinyl of the windows of the Morton J. Holbrook Judicial Center. We received 1 bid. This bid far exceeded the expected budget for this project, so we would recommend rejection of all bids and review this project under an altered scope to possibly be bid again at a future date.
Exceeded the AOC, the administrative offices of the court, their estimate by $250,000 roughly?
Yes.
268 to be exact.
Yes, sir.
Oh, my.
Okay, any question or comment? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. So Boy Scouts, we went through presentations. You heard me present to the commission. We've gone through approvals. Most of those were money matters where we were going to spend your tax dollars. We enjoy spending your tax dollars, by the way. Kind of like you enjoy spending your parents' dollars that you tax them for your allowance. Now we come to ordinances. Claude, an ordinance has the force of law, correct?
It does, Judge.
So anytime you're going to do something that has the force of law, you must read it twice. You have first reading, and you can comment on it. The public can comment on it. And then you would have a second reading. You can comment on it. The public can comment on it. But it has to be read twice. And once it's been approved on the second reading and published again in the newspaper in this case, then it takes effect. So that's what we're going to do with this one. So Jenny, go ahead.
L, second reading of KOC A.96.01, 2019, 1319, budget amendment number 1, mental health court revenue.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion second. Mr. Hendricks, tell us why we're having to do a budget amendment.
This budget amendment is being done because we received a grant of $77,000 from the for mental health court from the state and a $10,000 grant from River Valley for the same, and we did not know about that at the time we did our budget for fiscal year 20. Therefore, we must amend that budget if we're planning on spending those dollars during that fiscal year. This is the second reading. Again, we have $77,000 for the main grant, $10,000 for the secondary grant. The expenditures are shown of the same amount. That's all I have to say. Recommend approval.
Claude, tell us why this grant is of great importance to our community.
Well, it allows us to hire a person who will serve as a case manager and director of a program for people mostly who have criminal backgrounds or criminal charges, and get them out of the jails, which is the biggest thing for the Department of Corrections, into a program, into counseling services. We're also looking for places to house them, get them work, so get them back on their feet, get them back into taking their medication as prescribed, get them off of the streets and back to work.
We can get them the help that they need, and they certainly don't need to be in jail. Jails are not prepared to handle people with emotional and mental illness. And I think this is a real step forward. I'm very excited to see us. How many other counties are doing
I know there are
this?
at least 2 others that AOC has helped fund. One is in Hardin. That was the one that we used to sort of as our guide.
Okay.
And they've been around for 8 or 10 years, I believe. So I think it will be very effective. I think it will help both reduce the population in the jail, reduce possibly homeless population,
Right.
increase the number of persons that will be available for work.
Well, I look forward to seeing the results and hope it's extremely
We are too.
successful.
We begin August the 1st, Judge.
Commissioners,
What do you anticipate the caseload that they can
We think the jail has a population that may be eligible of up to 40% of their inmates. We'll be looking mostly at the ones that already have felony convictions that are there for with the Department of Corrections, but any of those. So at 40%, we're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 200,
280.
up
folks.
to 280.
We have our
individuals.
bed capacity is 699, and depends on the phase of the moon, we may have as many as 750 people in there.
Right, and
Yep.
we think realistically, we hope this first year to at least serve somewhere between 50 and 100 persons.
Good.
Yes,
sir.
Do you anticipate that, you're talking about people now that are already in prison, will they be able
Yes.
to get them before they get into prison?
The way the grant is set, it's not exactly geared toward that, but that's one of the things we hope we can do. One of the criteria is that they have a pending felony charge. The Department of Corrections grant is to reduce the number of days in jail and to reduce the cost of the Department of Corrections. So that's part of the grant focus, but we will be looking to get those other folks as well.
Any other questions? Well, Katie, I hope you and Jacob don't use that statement I made, depending on the phase of the moon. That wouldn't look good, and it could be. Knowing the messenger, it probably will be. Any other question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next item.
3, consideration for discussion. A, other business to be brought before the Daviess County Fiscal Court.
We have a streak.
Yes, sir. B, public comments.
This is a time during our meeting in which we invite the public to come to the podium, identify yourself, and you're welcome to speak on anything other than what was on the agenda. And if you want to come up and talk about clogging, that was before we started the meeting, so you're welcome to talk about that. Jenny, no takers.
C, advertisements. Would you like me to read those, or would you?
No, commissioners, the advertisements are listed. We're going to advertise for one new backhoe loader for the landfill, a new articulated dump truck. I love anything that's articulated, Commissioner Wathen, is expensive.
That means it's been spoken well.
It speaks well, that's correct. And one four-wheel drive, one-ton chassis cab, all these for the landfill. Jordan, I assume that the bids will go out, and we won't have them for the next court. We will.
We will. They will open August 1st. I hope to have
Okay.
them on the August 8th
Okay.
meeting.
This is just to inform you what might be coming up at next. So, any questions by you guys? Next item, Jenny.
D, comments by Daviess Fiscal Court.
Okay, I'm going to start it off. A couple things. As you're aware, Cedar Hills, we had our final meeting with the folks out at, what's the name of that school? Country Heights. I never can remember Country Heights. I should be able to remember it since we burned a fire station down in front of it. That meeting was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. At that meeting, we had told the people that we were moving forward. We had all the easements that we needed except for 2. I would report tonight that we have signed easements for, from everybody. So that's not a problem. But I had a card that I failed to read last time, and it's from Eddie and Edna Tucker, and it says, "Don't know how you managed it all, but so thankful you do. Thank you and the commission for everything you are doing for Cedar Hills community." And I thought that was nice that they took that opportunity. As I sent to you today, we just received word that we finally, somebody listened to us, and I posted this on Cedar Hills' Facebook page. We received word that the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority had granted us $250,000 in a forgivable grant. That's probably worth about $400,000 over the life alone, because you take $250 off and don't have to pay 1.75% for 25 years. Probably going to amount to between $5 and $10 savings on their bill. And if you recall, Cedar Hills is the neighborhood, they made too much money to be eligible for CDBG grants, for forgivable loans, but at least somebody was listening, and I've gotten quite a few emails thanking the commission for all the hard work. I'm not going to stop there. I'm going to continue to bang on our federal delegation, but I'm suspecting that it's not going to do us any good. Lastly, as you're aware by email, I texted you or sent you, McLean County's Judge Ed West called me last Thursday. Ashley Clark and I went over. They lost their animal control officer. We offered to help them on a temporary basis. So we were going to provide animal control from last Friday until the 2nd of August, which is not this coming Friday, but next Friday. So we will be responding to calls, emergency calls only. This is biting dogs and those kinds of things. Friday was pretty tame. Yesterday, we got a call. We went over. Then I got a call from Ashley saying we need to quit this. Typical animal control. Everybody got mad because nobody could do what they wanted. But I had another conversation with the judge. He understands, because I said, if we don't get this worked out, your phone number is going to be on Ashley's speed dial. So we'll send everything to him. But I would tell you that Judge West is extremely pleased that Daviess County Fiscal Court was willing to step up and help them out temporarily. So that's all I have. I think I have asked Jenny to bring a young man in next week if she can get a hold of him. He goes to the 4-6 Center for Owensboro Catholic Schools, and he won a blue ribbon for his age group in 4-H speech. And I've asked Jenny to have him come over, stand at the podium. We'll probably have to find something he can stand on and give us his speech. So we hope that we can get that set up. Commissioner Caslen, you forgot?
No, I was just going to point out, you made reference to my skills at clogging. And
Scouts, don't listen to what he's going to tell you.
And I was just going to tell you, you know, the meeting has gone long, and so I'm going to have you sign a note because I'm missing class.
You're late for class,
Yeah.
and he's not kidding. So supposedly, he is a good clogger. At least he tells me he is. So you take that with a grain of salt. He tells me he sings well, and I know he sings with the men's mass choir, but I've only seen him mouthing the words. I've never heard a peep out of his mouth. So I'm a great singer too, but I quit singing when my son was 5 years old. We were in church. He put his hand over my mouth and said, "Don't sing, Daddy." So anything else?
Nothing else.
All right, Commissioner Wathen.
Just want to tell the Boy Scouts that I'm sorry they had to sit through such a long, boring meeting.
Commissioner Colbert.
I'd like to thank the Boy Scouts for coming tonight, and also about the grant, about the money for Cedar Hills. Is kind of funny. Commissioner Castle and the judge and I surrounded the commissioner over this, and our number one goal is to try to get the interest rate, which is at 1.75% on the loan, lowered to maybe 0.25. And she said that's never been heard of. And the judge says, if you don't ask, you don't get. So
This is a test case.
Right.
So actually, the next, or maybe that afternoon, next day, then we found out about the money, and we were just all really excited to help those people out. And the judges worked very hard trying to find extra money for those folks, and he will continue with everybody from Washington D.C. and everywhere else. He's been contacting all of them. So
You've seen me work, haven't you?
What's that?
You've seen me work.
Oh,
haven't you?
yes, yeah, you do work. And the thing is, it was just good and just very rewarding for us to be able to
Yes.
do that for those folks there.
Okay, if there's no other comments, if there's no other business to be brought before Daviess County Fiscal Court without exception, we're adjourned.